I will explain to you how to install the ecosystem AI prediction platform that's in the Microsoft Azure Marketplace. A couple of things to note. You probably want to read through the text and make sure that you are happy with the various parts that will be installed. And these are the different nodes that will be generated in the cluster. You want to go and register for a key or request one from Rob. There are free options available and you can just apply there or email that email address. You want to note the dependencies in your installation, so make sure that you have got create rights on the resource group in a DNS zone and the storage account, and that you can run the installation. Once you're happy with reviewing those details, we can walk through the installation. So there are a number of settings that you would have to provide that will name your instance, and that is how you will access it eventually when you run it through your browser. So the workbench and the notebooks and the Grafana, as well as the APIs, are all accessible through the API. So what we're going to do first is assign a resource group. We can either use one or create a new one. So we're just going to call this, I'm going to create an instance called interaction. And what I want to do is name that instance interaction so that it's going to be created in the DNS zone. There will be entries there so that you can access it through your browser. And we also want to assign an email to the Let's Encrypt feature that essentially generates a certificate for your installation. So you'll see that by the time we create the storage account, if we go back to interaction store, we just want to take that same name, want to assign it to version 2 storage. And we also need to provide some networking details. So in this case, we're going to call it interaction 2, just so that naming is consistent. These are the various parts of the Kubernetes cluster that will be created. You will note that there are some links here that you go follow to look at what these virtual machines compute will cost, including the pricing calculator link that you can access over there. You'll see that it's got absolute minimal compute assigned to the base nodes. So there's the server and a workbench that you will access, that is the no-code front end, the Grafana for all of the real-time reporting once you start using the runtime node. So this is the client pulse responder runtime node, and you see here that you can assign many nodes here depending on what your use case is about. So if you want to have a real-time personality, real-time interaction recommender, real-time product recommender, real-time message recommender, you just have to decide to create the number that is appropriate for your installation. And then the notebooks, you also want to think about the compute. If you're going to run large language models or any other complex deep learning training jobs, you probably want to scale this compute up quite a lot. So this is all the Python examples and everything sit in this environment. Once we have reviewed our compute and we now have the entire configuration set up, it will just validate that our settings are correct in relation to the compute that we require for this job to execute. And I can start the creation process. You will note that this will take about 20 minutes to complete, but to generate all the background elements of the Kubernetes cluster and to spin up all the related resources might take as long as 30 to 40 minutes for the entire installation to complete. So at this time, let's take a break, and I will, in the next video, explain how to access the various resources that have been created through this installation.